When we look at the cryptocurrency space as a whole, it is clear that it's split into two main concepts surrounding its overall functionality as well as its management. In the first part of the series, we discussed the main differences between centralized and decentralized cryptocurrency exchanges. If you missed that video, make sure to go and watch it in the link I put on top of this video or in the description below. But now it's time to dive one level deeper and look at the underlying blockchain technologies and how they shape the cryptosphere. I told you that blockchain networks you thought were decentralized are actually centralized at some layer or level. Today we're going to be going over the main differences between centralized versus decentralized crypto blockchains, so you can see how they work, their pros and cons, and discover which ones might stand the test of time better. Hey guys, it's Mark Thompson from CryptoMade, and today we're going to be going over everything you need to know when it comes down to the differences between centralized crypto and decentralized crypto blockchains. But before we go too far in this video, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to our content, and turn on notifications so you always get alerted when I post upcoming videos. Also, keep in mind that I am not a financial advisor. This content is used for educational and informational purposes only. It is important to talk to a financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is what is actual decentralization and how does it relate to the crypto market? Decentralization is essentially the transfer of control and decision making. A centralized entity is an individual or an organization or group that controls a specific blockchain network. However, decentralized networks are, by design, created to reduce the level of trust that participants have to place in one another. The main intention here is to deter their ability to exert any authority or control over one another and remove any degrading functionalities within the network. With that in mind, a blockchain can either be centralized or decentralized. Note that decentralized should not be mixed up with distributed. While a blockchain can be inherently distributed, which means that multiple parties can hold copies of the ledger, it might not necessarily mean that it is inherently decentralized. Within a decentralized network, anyone is given the opportunity to participate and transact on the ledger. There are specific mechanisms designed, for example, to combat the vulnerabilities that can arise from this design and ensure that the transactions are correct. Bitcoin, as an example, is a blockchain network that utilizes mining as well as a proof of work consensus mechanism as a means of maintaining the integrity of its ledger and preventing any misuse of the system or double spending. Within a centralized network, it is made up of parties whose identities are known, and as such, the system is valid because there are only credible, reputable participants within the network that can post to the ledger. Due to the fact that the identity of these participants is known, their transactions can be audited, which leads to a higher level of authenticity and legitimacy. However, things get a lot more interesting, and to truly grasp the difference between a centralized and decentralized blockchain, I'll be splitting each section into 5 specific layers. The first layer is the development layer. The development layer is essentially the individual or the institution that created the cryptocurrency project. Here, decentralization implies that the more unaffiliated individuals and institutions a project has, the more decentralized it is. However, any individuals with the same investors or backers are affiliated with each other even if they do not directly know each other. Second, there's the coin or token layer. This layer revolves around the distribution of a specific coin or a token. For all cryptocurrencies, it is important that the distribution of a coin or a token is decentralized or evenly spread out. This is due to the fact that some whales hold a higher amount of cryptocurrency that could easily manipulate its price. While the Bitcoin blockchain and its technology was designed to be decentralized, the fact that big institutions have gobbled up so much of the limited 21 million token supply of BTC has made it more centralized, having control over its price manipulation and market volatility. And third is the infrastructure layer. This is the reference to the technologies which are used as a means of interacting with or accessing cryptocurrency blockchains. This can include cryptocurrency wallets as well as centralized exchanges. In the beginning, many centralized exchanges were actually, ironically, decentralized due to the fact that they were registered in different locations on a global scale, which had lower levels of regulation. But this isn't the case today, as they needed to register and make customers complete a KYC procedure. Now, fourth is the blockchain layer. This is typically the number one layer that you hear about, read about, and discuss at any point in time when decentralization is being discussed. In fact, if you notice at the beginning of this video, this is exactly what I did to help you better understand the main differences. However, what's interesting is that this can differ based on the specific cryptocurrency in question. In many cases, the number of nodes might not matter if they are controlled by a centralized entity. Algorand, for example, has thousands of nodes, of which participate in consensus. However, all the transactions get processed by a smaller group of 120 relay nodes, a majority of which are being run by the entities behind Algorand, as well as its affiliates. The Solana blockchain has thousands of validators as well. However, all the transactions are processed by clusters of up to 150 validators. While validators on some blockchains store the full transaction history, this isn't the case for all, and there have only been a handful of them that have showcased a high level of transparency in how they do this. The full nodes that run on Bitcoin, for example, store its full transaction history. And now the fifth and final layer is the external layer. This references everything that the cryptocurrencies might utilize or rely on, which is not exclusive to the cryptocurrency space. This external layer includes websites, internet service providers, and financial institutions in some cases. Almost every single crypto project's website is hosted on a centralized hosting service. There have been some cases, such as the DeFi protocol Aave, which has migrated to decentralized file storage solutions such as IPFS. Now onto my personal take. The top blockchain project, which has thus far managed to achieve a higher level of decentralization and has scored the highest across all 5 of the aforementioned layers, is Bitcoin. There are numerous individuals as well as institutions that are currently building on top of Bitcoin. The supply of Bitcoin is broadly distributed. There isn't even a shortage of infrastructure available to interact with. And the Bitcoin blockchains have thousands of full nodes. However, the main thing it lacks is decentralization at the external layer. However, this is a layer of which every cryptocurrency project fails. With other cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum, Dogecoin, and Litecoin, we've also seen a heightened level of decentralization, although none of them are indeed perfect in this regard. Now, at this point, you may have noticed a pattern, and that the fact that the older the cryptocurrency or blockchain project is, the more decentralized it ends up being. This is due to the fact that they have more time, which has allowed them to become decentralized. In the future, we could see many newer blockchain networks become a lot more decentralized, such as Cardano, Solana, and Polkadot based on this pattern. However, one thing we need to prepare for is regulation, as ultimately, the further regulators push and the further these cryptocurrency projects adhere to those specific guidelines and rules, the more centralized they may become, or risk getting delisted from centralized exchanges. Exchanges on top of which they see the most circulation and have the most investor confidence, which could spell bad news for the future of the project in question. With the exponential level of growth surrounding crypto projects, regulators are in a race against time to set things straight and as regulated as possible. So we will see quite an interesting future ahead of us. At the end of the day, we live in a capitalistic society where big institutions control the means. So while many of us would love to see a fully decentralized world, I believe it's next to impossible. It's more about leveraging decentralization as best we can to protect from corruption, manipulation, or other nefarious acts. So what about you? Have you decided on what type of blockchain appeals to you as a crypto enthusiast? Also, don't forget to check out the first part of this series where I break down the difference between centralized and decentralized exchanges. If you ended up enjoying this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more breakdowns on other crypto projects, including everything that's going on in the industry.